drywall on the inside, and we have one of those houses that is at 7.5 BTUs. Isn't that one humble?
I don't remember the BTUs, I remember compared to a double wall cellulose house,
Yeah.
like a double wall, 15-inch separated
Yeah.
wall.
Well,
And I saw that in Finland in 1978.
so what is the wall construction you're talking about?
I'm sorry?
What are you talking about for wall construction?
It's frame construction, and it has fiber in like a 2x4, and it has fiber, and then it has a foil reflective vapor barrier. In other words, the foil is also a vapor barrier. We did a house in Saskatoon. Well, except it was, well, that's another story.
Well, there's always some codes you have to work with, about whether the foil is a vapor barrier or not a vapor barrier, but. Yeah.
They accepted it in Regina, but they wouldn't in Saskatoon.
So what is it? Like, where do you get?
Where do you
it from?
find it?
Yeah, it's neat.
What?
We sell it.
Foil?
Yeah.
Oh, it's gotta be.
Hardware stores.
Yes, sure it is.
Comes in 4-foot rolls.
We sell it 4 foot wide, 125 feet long, 500 square feet, and you can get lots of different configurations of it. But Dr. Dumont hasn't been an advocate of that. As a matter of fact, he and I have some real disagreements about it. And, I mean, we've done enough systems that it can't be denied, because if I got started talking about these things, we'd be here till tomorrow at this time, but I don't think we have that much time.
So would you say that's preferable to the ICF?
Is that true? No. ICF, in my opinion, is the absolute best. You can't, but that's second best. I mean, it gives you very close to the same thermal value by putting in the reflective barrier.
So I still don't understand your wall. So it's a regular 2x4 wall
Yeah.
with a foil barrier, and then you said there was a 2x2 inside that for
No, 2x2 horizontal on the outside. Like,
On the
okay, you
exterior
got the
wall.
studs here. You put on the reflective barrier, reflective vapor barrier. Then you horizontally strap this way, and then you put the drywall on the outside of that.
Okay. So
Still
there's
on
like
this.
1.5 inch gap between the foil and the drywall.
That's right.
Two rags wires.
Yeah, and you could also run all your wiring in there too.
And
Without
why do you
having
do
to
it
much holes
horizontally?
and vapor barrier. Sorry?
Why do you do it horizontally?
Thermal breaking.
Well, you break the conduction
Yeah.
for one thing, and then it also gives you a space that you can run electrical wiring in without punching holes in the vapor barrier.
Cool.
Question about ICF, like you were talking about a 10-inch wall. Most ICF for a home, like for a home application, would only be 6 inches.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Is that, we're gonna build a house on an acreage, and there's not much of a wind barrier.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking that 6-inch wall with that cold winter wind hitting it from the north and west all winter, am I gonna lose some of the value of the heat that might be stored in that wall?
No, nothing of any significance. The thing about heat loss, like if you have an ICF wall, as soon as that radiation is going through the foam, it's storing in the concrete. And, like you can have anything from 4 to 10 inch, I guess there's even 12-inch blocks. But the most common, I think, is 6-inch. And a lot of upper walls, sometimes are only 4-inch. We also have done a house where we got radiant pipe in the walls. So we not only have done the floors, but it's also in the walls.
That's an elbow, right?
Yes, and then we got solar collectors hooked to that. As a matter of fact, Bruce built that whole system.
The walls we're not heating with the natural gas boiler, we're using that only when there's solar surplus. So because it's in the ICF, we don't want to raise that to the temperature of the floor, we just want to put the extra solar energy we have in it there to reduce the loss of energy going outward.
Creates a thermal barrier.
Can you
And
tell?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask a little bit about that. You said if you maintained your walls at a constant temperature of 16 degrees Celsius,
Yeah.
Did you say you don't have to, like that would
That
maintain
heats
your
the
home
house.
at a, like,
That alone will heat the house.
so keep your house at a constant 21 or whatever it
Yeah,
is.
there's no heat in or out.
Wow. Wow. Interesting.
As a matter of fact, I think there's all kinds of new technology could be developed. The ICF system is the first one that sort of identifies and proves that. But I think that there could be better ICF blocks built too. I know there's a chap in Moose Jaw that I'm pretty closely associated with, and he's built buildings where he leaves the concrete bare on the inside. He forms it, and he has a slip form, and then when it's done, he takes the form off and just leaves concrete. And of course, everybody said, well, concrete is cold and all the rest of it. Well, if concrete is at the human body rejection comfort level, concrete is not cold. And it's the same thing with this floor. You know, people will say, oh, I'm not going to walk on a concrete floor. Well, your foot doesn't know the difference between concrete if it's at the right temperature. It's the temperature that causes the problem because it draws heat out of your body. And that's one of the reasons why we use carpets. And carpets are probably one of the worst covers there is. You never see carpets in Europe. Scatter rugs, but never carpets.
So would you put that reflective barrier on the inside of the
Stucco.
ICF? No.
No, not necessarily, although if I ever get around to doing some more innovation in that system, what I would do is I would put a bubble foil bubble on the inside of the outer styrofoam. And that way it would reflect back as well.
Inside of the outer styrofoam, right?
So it'd be,
Yeah.
So it's going to the concrete heading back.
Yeah, it's on the face,
Back
on the face,
Is it?
yeah.
So do you do much joist radiant heating at all?
Oh, you betcha, lots of it. There's another interesting thing that most of the authorities, as a matter of fact, I was at I was down at the Cyfex in Toronto, I think last spring, but in any event, I went to one of the presentations that was done by Robert Bean from Calgary. He's been around for years, I know him quite well. And anyway, he showed some pictures of this joist cavity installation with foil below it. And I says, we know that doesn't work. And he accepted the fact that you could put a bubble foil bubble below concrete and it worked fine. Well, we've done dozens of systems that have the reflection below the pipe in the joist cavity. And another interesting thing, the way we first realized how much you could reflect in this business was we did a house in Broadview, and it was joist cavity. So we were ready to leave and pin the foil up on the bottom of the joists. But the owner says, well, we've got some more ventilation stuff to do and there's electrical to do, so just lay it on the bottom of the crawl space. It's still there. Never did. It worked just as well as having it stapled up on the bottom of the joist. And we have since done another house in Regina where it's 6 feet, the crawl space was 6 feet below the floor. And we should mention the one that Bruce did, the art gallery in town here. It's all done with reflective radiation. And lots of people say you can't reflect radiation, but you sure can. This system downtown, what is it, 5,000 square foot building?
Yeah, the art gallery. Yeah, it's an art gallery that we couldn't use the floor on the lower level. It's on grade. We couldn't use the floor because they decided to grind it and spend some money and effort to prepare that floor the way it was. So we figured a way, because it's a 2-story building, in the middle was another concrete floor. The ceiling of the lower floor and the floor of the one above was concrete. So we strapped pipe at a 6-inch spacing, which is a little closer than usual, to the metal pan that's under the middle concrete, and put the heating fluid through there. And we were all prepared for various backups, such as radiators in different locations and so on. And in some parts of the building, we heated the walls because they were isolated from the ceiling, from this radiant ceiling. So actually, it's a radiant floor, radiant ceiling building, but because the pipes are underneath this concrete, they radiate downward a little bit faster than they radiate upward. So even though the downward heating job is harder, it balanced just beautifully, and it's been going now for 3 seasons, or 3
Yeah.
winters now, and I've gone back to try and find a problem with it, and they said, no, it's fine. This is the Paved Arts Gallery, the AKA Gallery. So if you're ever in that gallery to look at the exhibits or something, look up and see all the orange pipe. I thought they wouldn't stand for that in the, you know, because of the aesthetics, but I suppose you don't stare at the ceiling that much.
Yeah, like he was also saying, it's radiant walls as well. If you put foil on the wall and put pipe on the wall, that's a far better radiator than any thin and tube, and it's low temperature. You can run it at radiant floor temperatures.
So, I was talking to a fellow that did that in Calgary, so how would you do that? You'd have your 2x4 wall, then your radiant, your
Yeah.
reflector, and then the 2-inch with the 2
Yeah.
on the wall?
There is all kinds of different configurations that you can do, and we've done a number of them, but there's obviously, the problem with this whole business is that every time you complete something and it's successful, it just gives you another list of as long as your arm of things that should be done. And I can't afford to do it.
I think that's how I would recommend, or well, in any case, getting the reflection behind that gallery where I heated the walls. It happened that they were inner walls, so I was wanting to heat both ways on all of them, so I didn't use a barrier. It's just piped into the walls, and it heats the office